My name is Noah Calle. I'm a junior midfielder for Owen J. Roberts High School.
Noah has the personality of an athlete that you want on your team. He asks the right questions. If he doesn't understand something, he'll ask. He'll look for you to elaborate and maybe just kind of re-explain, which is, as a teacher and a coach, those are the things you want to know.
If I make a mistake on the field, my coach has always told me, don't make 2 mistakes in a row, so I work to correct that mistake.
He will say, hey coach, I don't understand what's going on here, can you explain this to me? And not in the middle of a drill, he'll wait till you're done, or after practice, or ask for, before we start something, and just that understanding of knowing the appropriate time to get that clarification, I think is a little, nugget that coaches and teachers recognize. And I think those little pieces of Noah make him very attractive as a player.
If I see someone down during practice, I just try and get them up, get them moving, because it's only going to help the team in the end if everyone has a positive attitude. During games, I kind of just try and feed off the energy of the fans, and I don't get down on myself. If I mess up, I know I'll get it next time.
I'm going to win this match.
I was actually at a lacrosse game when I was approached by a wrestling coach who shook my hand, said I had a strong grit, and that I should come out for wrestling next year, and I listened to him, came out.
He got beat up his first year and a half in wrestling. He really started to get it in about 4th grade. He was fun to coach because he always gave effort, was always working hard in practice.
I loved wrestling from the beginning. I mean, I was going 0-20 my first season, and I still decided to come back out and kept coming back out. Ended up being a decent wrestler.
At Southeastern PA, wrestling is a real strong sport, and so is lacrosse. We are probably the 2nd or 3rd best region in the country from a wrestling perspective. And lacrosse is no different. Wrestling is a great base sport for any sport. It teaches you about hard work, discipline. What you put into that sport is usually what you're going to get out of it.
When freshman year rolled around, I went through all the preseason training for wrestling, and I was all prepared to wrestle. I lost 7 pounds to get down to 108, just because that's the weight I was going to wrestle. And then I decided I wanted to gain weight instead and focus on lacrosse just to get bigger so I could make the team that year.
I think a lot of the things that you get from wrestling, he uses on the lacrosse field. I think he outworks everybody. I watch him and he's tenacious, he stays after the ball, and those are, I think, mindsets you get from wrestling, quite frankly, because if you don't wrestle mat, you get your head taken off. Where on the lacrosse field, if you're that tenacious, you stay after the ball, good things will usually happen.
Wrestling taught me a lot of discipline in my own body and in my practice of any sport, really. After I decided not to wrestle, me and a couple of my friends built the wall so I could play wall ball in the backyard and get in as much work as possible before tryouts rolled around. After that is where my off-season practice came into play. I was outside shooting, playing wall ball, started lifting, running. Last summer when my brother got his workout packet from Elizabethtown College, where he's a goalie, I decided to join in and follow the program, and then once I got going, then I just started making my own workouts for the off-season.
His shot became deadly from space. He was a good finisher inside as an attackman, and he was developing as a feeder. And then this year, when we needed midfielders, he stepped into that role. And he didn't say, hey, I was an attackman last year. He said, I'm a player, and wherever you need me, that's where I'll be. And almost instantly, he showed the ability to play right up onto that first line of midfield, which had a lot of talent, even returning from last year, and he was beating out kids. And to do that is saying something.
We were down 7-5 at halftime. My coach came up to me and he told me to take control of this game and put the ball in the net. He chose me, so I felt like it was my obligation to put the team on my back for the win.
When you know what you have already, and then this new player comes in and he just flat out blows you away, that shows what kind of guy he is. He's saying, I want it, and I want it bad enough to show you. He has an extra gear, which we saw in some important games this year. There was a play, the ball went down, and he picked it up in the defensive end and ran faster than I'd ever seen him run, because he knew he had to. It was a short time, he had to get it down, and it was just one of those things where he just exploded. But he had that ability to do it.
When sophomore year rolled around and I wasn't wrestling anymore, my parents wanted me to play a second sport that year. So I decided to pick up golf. My mom plays all the time. My grandfather played at Lehigh, so it was an easy decision for me. I ended up doing pretty decent in Pac-10s this year. Took 18th out of 64 people.
Wow, a fantastic putt there on flight number 4 by Noah Calle. Fantastic effort.
My grandfather was actually the one that taught me how to play golf. Towards the beginning of the season, our youth program had a tournament which the team helped run. In my off time, when I'm not working on my own lacrosse development skills, I'm helping my dad run my younger brother's team and help develop the youth. I feel that my discipline in high school has prepared me to make this transition to college. I'll manage peer pressure the same way I do now. I'll just ignore it and focus on my priorities, which is school and sports. Probably the most difficult thing is going to be managing my time between playing a sport and academically doing well. I have a 3.9 GPA. I took 2 AP classes this year, I'm taking 3 next year, and I feel that my discipline comes into play with my academics just as much as sports, because I come home right from practice and I just go straight upstairs and start studying.
He would be willing to step in and do whatever is asked. It's a big step up from high school to college at any level. He would be one of the players that I would have the most confidence in, saying that he's going to be that freshman that is talked about at practice, in games. They're saying, hey, we want him in. Like, let's see what he can do. I see that drive to say, hey, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And those are the things that are going to carry him through. And that's what is going to make him successful.